so it's ready. But that is the hot deploy thing. So let's just take that, and what we'll do is we'll stop it, and we'll run it the Maven command that we normally use, and we enter. Okay. So this should now run our code and test it if everything has been working. And this is the part that normally worries me so much, because it's the Java side of it. It's very complex. So hopefully so far so good. Fingers and eyes closed or crossed. So that's good. That is a bit different. So starting up now. Sorry, you have to wait. So as you can see here, it's trying to connect to via just basically to connect it to Elasticsearch, but it cannot connect. So that's what we didn't want. So that's why I didn't want it to run it locally. I want it to build it as a Docker, and then as if it's in production mode, and then connect it to the same way that it would connect it to in production. So, but it's a good thing it's running, so that at least we know it's working. So now let's stop this, and let's build our application with Docker. Let me just double check something if I'm not forgetting anything. If I'm forgetting anything, that's nothing. That's fine. So that should be okay. I need to check the code side here. What do I need to do? Anything? Nothing. So what I need to do right now is build the application. So I'm going to do Maven wrapper, and then I'm going to package it. This is because we're trying to build an in production, basically in production. So we say prod and for production, and then the next thing I need to do is I need to skip tests, basically, because of if something they will slow me down. That's basically the only reason why I like it. So I'm gonna say Maven test skip, and then equals true, I think, in here or something like that. You can use two versions. You can use this version or the other version where you say just like skip Maven skip tests only, I think. So the next thing I need to do is JIB, which is the plugin for building, and then say Docker. Was it build or file? I think it was build. Let's try that. And now hopefully that should give us a Docker file, a Docker image of our application. It's ready actually. So it normally. Okay, so now our application is successfully built, and if we do Docker image, we'll find out that luulpos is one of them, which is that one that has been generated and it's got that ID. So normally now we can start, but what thing you don't want is, remember, our application relies on Elasticsearch and MySQL, and they both are running. And what we had to do is we had to separately run them. Normally, what you could do is with one app command, with one command inside here, you just launch that application, our application, and that application also would launch these two files, which are basically nothing but this file, YAML file, and this YAML file, and which are these two because they're extended, they're being referenced here, and whatever is in here will be run, and whatever is in here will be run. But because we've directly invoked and they're running, we don't want to cause to start conflict between what's already running, because they will run on a different basically it's the same port and everything, so they'll collide. So what we need to do is we need to tell do not run these two, okay, just to run this one. this service. Okay, and what we need to do is because I don't know, I think if we're running on Docker, what we're running on, I'm not sure if I'm Docker Swarm or something, because normally I was running yesterday, so I need to be sure that Docker info. Where is the Swarm thing? It was somewhere here. Yeah, it's inactive, so we're not running Docker Swarm, which is good. So what we need to do is we need to tell Docker to run it for us, and it's running as standalone basically. That's not part of Swarm. So it was Docker Compose, wasn't it? Yeah, just thinking Docker Compose, and then we say which file it was, and then source and main Docker, and we want the app. I'm going to say app and then run it and debug them. But the good thing about this is now we can pass the service that we want it to be run. Only that service. Do not run the other services, just that service. Now it's not going to run because remember those two are running for us. So now it's running, and it's run quickly actually. So something must have happened. So let's check the logs of it. Let's quickly go to logs and see if it's running actually. And let's tail it. So it's waiting for 10 seconds. Normally, as part of this behavior of in here, it says sleep for 10 seconds as soon as you run, and then it should reference. I think I'm more a bit worried about now that, and this rather than localhost, but it should work, I think, because of in the application XML file, YAML file we've configured them correctly. How do I go back? Sorry about that. So now I'm here. The application is running now. One of the good things is now, look, it's Elasticsearch. The data that we had, the tables, the references, is just creating references of mappings of the tables now. That means it's good thing is it's found our Elasticsearch. So our application, our Elasticsearch can see each other now. And the one way to do that is, one way to check that is we need to go to our application and we're going to insert, because of remember, there is the first time your application runs, even though that our database, my SQL database has a lot of data in it, and the Elasticsearch has been just restarted. What it copies is just the structures of the tables, of the names of the indexes, basically creates that, but the data doesn't go in there. That's why there is a JHipster tool called reindexer, which would allow you to take the data from MySQL and put it into Elasticsearch for you. That's called reindexing. So that tool, I've tried to use that tool, and one of the problems with it doesn't go with reactive, because it's been developed for the front end, and there's some improvement like this. The new Elasticsearch uses just basically REST templates and all that kind of stuff. So it's the completely different way. So it's kind of a little bit outdated, which hopefully I'll see if I can contribute to that, to update it on something like that. But for now, what we need to do is, we know our Elasticsearch is running, our database is running because our application has run and we've tested it, and everything, all three applications are running in production mode, can see each other. So let's go and test our application. So let's go to localhost 8080. I'm glad I'm very happy that it went well so far. And let's see. Let's not speak too soon. Nothing is promising here. Things work. Sometimes they don't work, but this time they worked, which is very good. So now we've logged on to JHipster, and we can see that all the entities that we have created, and just to see, for example, the product table, we can see that the products exist in our database here. And now one good thing I need to go to the to this area and have a look at, maybe let's add a company. Okay, let's add a company, but let me go back first again to the company. I'm going to say I'm going to add, we've already added a test company, but I'm going to add another company called, this time remember Elasticsearch is connected. So I'm hoping that this company I'm adding, because the way Elasticsearch and MySQL, the code in our code, they work. So if I quickly show you this, every time you insert a record in your MySQL database, so for example, for this particular table, I'm interested right now, the source file, and then go to REST, and then go to, and then I'm going to go to company, which may be one of the worst ones. So as soon as we call here the save method of that record, the company we're going to save, if I click now and go to the implementation of this, okay, the service that you see, first it saves this entity to MySQL, okay, here, and then when everything is fine and there's nothing, it comes back result, and this time ID is generated, the auto incremented ID of the entity, and then Elasticsearch is inserted. So it's like they go in parallel. Every time you insert something, this is like the only thing we're missing now is the reindexing, but from now on Elasticsearch should have, from today, this should be in sync with MySQL. So now what I'm gonna go back to do here, and I'm gonna say okay, pause company test. So we know that that I think has pause test. Okay, notes anything. I'm not gonna upload an image. I'm just gonna say it's active. So let's save it. It's been saved. Now we know that. So what we need to do is we need to check it via the Elasticsearch, via the API. So this each entity inside here has an API called search, and this is the API that always goes at the last one here. Where did we leave that thing? Here. This API here, okay, which takes basically a query of a string query of your Elasticsearch query, and then it will find and check for you. So we can always use this API for each entity to find about that entity. So let's now, we know that we've created, we need to double check that Elasticsearch has updated our database. So let's go and use Swagger API to access this. So this is, let's do the get, actually no, the search, where's this one? It's that API for Elasticsearch. And what we put there was pause, I think. Pause. And to prove that to you, just that word only. The good thing about Elasticsearch is just give it one word and it looks for it everywhere. So hopefully it should give us an entity that we've created recently in there. And you can see post company, it's returned via the API. It's beautiful. Wow, this is fantastic. So that is one thing. The other thing I wanted to show you was if we search for another company, and we know that we had if we go back a few steps, we know that we looked via this name and we found it. But if we just to look for that Oasis lounge, just the Oasis, and go back to the where we were. Normally I should open another window, but it's fine. And enter, we shouldn't find anything. Otherwise I'm a liar. Okay, so we should run that and we shouldn't find anything. It should say 0 or empty array. Yeah, you see there? Nothing came back. Why? Because Elasticsearch was not there when we first searched, and so we need reindexing. So that is one thing. The other thing I wanted to show you right now is, now we have some data in our database, and one of the entities that we have in our database is called company. What we could do is we could log on to the Elasticsearch UI tool that we've set up earlier. And the port number was 1358, and we could take just a normal local host 13 local host and 1358. It's running locally for us. So this is, so what we need to do is we need to say HTTP, and then we'd say 127.0.0. That's just like another way of saying localhost. So and then we say 9.200, which is the so it's actually very clever. It's already giving me a list of available entities that we can connect it to, and it's created them as indices basically. So we could just say the company one that we have just created. The others don't have data, a lot of data, but there's one I know that has a data, and that is the company one. Let's quickly find it if we can. Oh, we just type it here, company, and I'm gonna say browse and show me something. It's telling me deja vu. So the company is in there. If I click there, I can see that there's one entity that we've inserted, and that is the beautiful thing that we put there, and we can just access it by. So this is nice that you can see, you can import your data, you can, so much stuff you can do in here. You know, you can clone the app and a lot of stuff that you can hear, and it's very nice, very, I like it really, with Elasticsearch. The only thing is you need to basically secure your application. That is one thing. The other thing, let's go back to our application and just make sure that I have covered everything. It looks like I'm not going to do the detailed tutorial tonight, so that is actually as detailed as it goes. If you have any questions, or if you wanted something to be re-recorded, I could do it on request, please. So that is done. We've done that. I've demoed you via the APIs with the Swagger, and the application is running on local Docker. And I think that's it. Thank you very much. If you have, obviously everyone has a limitation, or maybe knows something, but there might, if I have missed, or if I have got anything wrong, please comment it. I will correct it in the videos. Also, if I have done something that I could have done a shorter way, in a long way, please let me know a quicker way to do that. So it's good. I'm always learning a lot. I'm looking to learn things from you guys, and also to teach you what I know. Thank you very much. Okay.